Hello everyone, this is Coffee with Sabrina and I am Sabrina Hussein. Today I have a really fun guest, Mary, and she is going to share with us who she is and a little about what she does. So Mary, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you decided to
Thank
come
you
and
for
do
inviting
this.
me.
You're welcome.
I'm glad I'm feeling better.
Yes. I didn't realize, you were sick until I messaged you last week.
Yes.
So.
And I had every intention of messaging you before you messaged me, but then I was like, well, maybe I'll feel better. So
Yeah, but when you're sick, you're really not thinking about it either.
yeah, and I was super busy on Tuesday and Wednesday last week, even though I was sick. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank
so let's tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Mary. I am a mom and a wife, and I sell advertising for a newspaper, community newspaper. So a lot of people are kind of like, newspapers are still a thing, but they are, and they are really important to people in those communities. So, once you start getting in closer to Dallas, newspapers aren't as popular, and people want them for the circulars and coupons. But in smaller towns like Forney, Terrell, and further east, they are super important. That's where people get their news of what's going on in the area.
Oh, wow. So that's the area you actually focus on.
For newsprint, yes.
Yes.
But we also do website design and maintenance. We do social media campaigns and digital marketing campaigns. So those I can do anywhere. So, if I moved, I could still potentially work for the company I work for and sell those things separate from the paper.
So I didn't realize how much digital stuff you guys did.
We do.
Because I think when you and I first talked and I ran some ads in the newspaper, it was just that. We never talked about anything else.
So, you get focused on one thing. So lately, I'm sure you've heard it, I've been super focused on Forney Chamber Directory.
Right.
So sometimes it's really hard to shift that focus from, website design to a magazine to a newspaper. So sometimes some of those smaller projects kind of go under the table a little bit when we're working on big projects that have big deadlines, which magazines do. I mean, we have to get them to press on a certain time, and then the press takes 2 to 3 weeks to get it back to us. So things happen, and sometimes it doesn't happen as fast as we want it to, whereas digital is faster. So I can say like, oh yeah, we can talk about that next week because we're not really on a time restraint.
Yeah.
So, we can get it started for you typically within 3 to 5 days of you saying, hey, I want to start a digital campaign, or I want to start a new website, or have you revamp my website. We can get that done pretty quickly, and it's not so intense.
So since we're in a digital world, tell me a little bit more about that. So where is that posted? How is that? How do you guys work?
So as you know, your phones have location services on them. If you turn them off, they don't work as well. So as a business owner, you want to encourage your clients to keep those services on, because when they go into a place of business similar to yours, your ads are going to pop up on things that they're looking at on social media, on websites. So we have 2 separate campaigns. We have Facebook and social media, which I use Facebook a lot. So I tend to think, when I think of social media, I think of Facebook. But it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, which...
Everything.
Yes.
So many things.
Yes. I'm more from the Facebook era. So that just tends to be what I'm comfortable with. And that's what a lot of people, like my sister uses Instagram because she prefers Instagram.
Yeah.
So when I tag her in things on Facebook, she's like, oh, I didn't get that. And then she sends me things on Instagram, and I'm like,
and you don't get it.
You should have sent it to me on Facebook. So it really depends on what you like. But if people don't have their location services on or their keyword searches on, things won't show up. Okay. So it is super important to encourage people to have those things on, so that way they get fed what you want them to see. Now, it doesn't matter if one person doesn't see it, probably not, but you want them to see those things.
Right, most definitely.
So, like I have a campaign right now going for a fried chicken place in Terrell. Well, of course, I have all of the fast food places in Terrell geofenced, and I have some restaurants geofenced that are similar. So that way, if you go into one of those places of business, next time you pick up your phone, the hope is that his ads are going to show up on your phone, and you'll be like, oh, I want to go check out this place instead.
Right. Okay, awesome. So I didn't know that that's how that works, because we never really got a chance to talk about that. Yeah.
And that's things that even I've been learning over the years. We've been doing digital campaigns for a long time, but it's that whole comfort thing. And
Right.
when we get busy with print projects, sometimes it's hard to shift the focus.
Right. So you talked about website building.
Mhm.
I didn't know that either.
Yes, we do that too. So my goal this year, so far I've hit it, is to have a new website every month. So, which I mean, I know we're only in March, but websites are, they're lasting. So newspaper ads, people will say, I'm going to run it for 1 week, and then they say, I didn't get anything off that. Well, even with print, you have to put forth effort and a little bit of time. I mean, you're not going to see something from a one-time run for a help wanted ad. They have to run for 4 to 6 weeks before you're going to get a turnaround on them.
Right.
It sucks, but that is how it is. So that's why you really need to be proactive and have your digital campaigns and your newsprint campaigns and billboards. Unfortunately, we don't sell those, but you need to have that whole combination so that you're top of mind. I mean, it's the same thing we talk about with networking.
Yeah. So do you guys have a niche type of business or just any business owner? How does that work?
I mean, I typically am looking for new businesses that aren't doing advertising, but it's always good for even a business like you that's been in business for years to advertise, because there's so many people moving to the DFW area and there's so many choices. Just because you've been here for 20 years doesn't mean that the person that just moved here 2 months ago has seen you or knows you.
Right.
So, in smaller towns, I don't know that Mesquite is so much like that, because Mesquite's very well established. I mean, it's been big and around for a long time. But places like Forney and Terrell, where they're really picking up industry, I get all the time from, businesses that have been there for 15, 20 years. Oh, everyone knows me. This is a small town.
Yes.
I don't know you. I've only lived in this area for a couple years. I've not heard of you. The new person that just moved in Devonshire doesn't know you. So you still want to be advertising and keeping your name out there. Otherwise, you're going to go stagnant. I mean, you're not going to get new business. Repeat business is great. You want repeat business, but you also want new people. Grow.
Exactly. And the thing about that, with that statement, is these smaller towns where everyone knows everyone, it might be the older folks. They're dying out. Their children are moving them closer to where they live, things like that. So yes, you're right. It's the new people that are coming in and they don't know. I feel, for me, as long as you're in business, you have to advertise. For my insurance business, a lot of my business is coming from referrals, but I still do advertisement.
Right.
Because it's still not enough.
It's still important to be out there.
Yes.
You can post on your Facebook page, but if you're not posting with an intention, then it's not going to get seen. And people say that all the time too. Well, I advertise on Facebook. How do you advertise? And I've learned how to look. I mean, because it's part of my job. And a lot of people, they're not actually advertising on Facebook. They're just posting like you and I post our personal pages.
Yes.
So there's got to be some dollars behind it. I mean, unfortunately.
And when you spend your dollars, you want to, for me, I like face-to-face. So I want to be able to talk to the person. I want to know what I'm doing, what I'm getting.
I agree.
Things like that. So for me, getting into the digital world was really hard, and it still is. So that's why I was so curious of what you guys do.
It is hard. It's still hard for me because we get so wrapped up in like the magazine projects, which are still very big in the smaller towns. I mean, and you've seen some of our magazines. They're nice. We've been doing them for years, so it's not like this is something we're just spitting out first time. We've been doing them a long time. We know how to do them, and they are popular. People like to have them. I can't remember who called me from Forney, but they were like, now once the magazine publishes, are you going to bring them to me so I can have them in my office for my customers? And I was like, absolutely. Like, that's what we want. We want to see them on the table so people can be like, oh, let me find out more about Terrell or Forney or Van Zandt. I mean,
well, I have to tell you, so when I did an ad, I think it was last year with you, you did bring some to me or to Forney, and so I put it here, and people were picking them up.
They do.
I was like, really? People are picking up these? I put it there because it's my ad, and I want people to take it, but I was still shocked when they were picking it up.
People do.
Even my sister, she came and she got some. She sent it off to Trinidad. I'm originally from the Caribbean. So she sent it off to Trinidad, and my family's got it out there. And like, I don't know what they'll do with it there, but they have it there, right? So it's to me, it's great because even though it's back there, and I feel like they can't do anything with it. Maybe they might.
Yeah.
You know, because the whole thing for them having it is they're going to flip through. They're not just going to look at my ad.
Right.
It's something new to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to read it through.
Absolutely.
And they might see something that might interest them. I have a lot of family in the United States.
Right.
So, or even there.
Or if they
business.
see something that's happening and they're like, oh, next time I visit,
yes.
Sabrina, I want to go check out
yes.
this restaurant or this event that's going on. I mean,
right. So it is really great advertisement no matter where it is.
And I love it. I also love QR codes because now, you know, if people don't want to actually take the magazine, which I do, I like to look through it. I don't love to look at it on my phone or my computer. But you can scan the QR code on it. So if you don't actually want to have the magazine, you can scan the QR code and then you can look at it on your phone, send it to people that way. So I think that's great, and I think that's a great way to track too how many people are looking at it, because that is a huge issue with digital and social media and print. Because on digital and social media, you can see what people are looking at and how many clicks you're getting. Print, you don't necessarily know. Typically, for every magazine, 3 to 4 people look at one magazine. So, you know, readership is not the same as distribution. Right. Readership is higher. So if you print 5,000 magazines, typically the readership is about 20,000 because you're getting more people looking at one magazine, especially in places like this where they might be sitting out on the table and you can pick it up and then set it back down. Right. But it's still, you know, people get frustrated when they're like, well, I don't know if it worked. Well, unless you're asking every single person, like, how did you see my ad? They might not know. Right. You know, or they might be like, oh, I saw it somewhere, but I don't know where. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That means all your advertising is working. Right. And I can speak to pre-COVID. I worked in this industry before COVID. And I remember when our papers were going out and, you know, ads were dropping like flies because industry was kind of shut down for that little bit. So the first thing people did was like, oh my gosh, if I can't go to their house, I gotta stop my ad. Right. So, you know, we had a pretty big slip in our industry, and people would call the office and say, oh, I'm calling about such and such business, which then it would get put through to me or the other salesperson, and they'd be like, well, where's their ad? Are they still in business? So people, especially in smaller communities, they pick up the paper and they know it's going to be there. But then when they don't see it, they don't know where to get the information from, especially older people. I mean, I had a lady today that called to make a payment on her subscription, and I said, oh, what's your email? I'll send you a copy of your email, of your receipt. Oh, I don't have an email. Can you just text it to me? Right. So they are looking for that paper because they want to be able to go and say, oh, I saw this ad in here. I need the phone number because now I need a plumber. Right. You know, but they didn't. And I still referred. I mean, even if they had stopped running their ads with me, I would pull up their account and give them. That's what we do. Give them the phone number. Yes. Yes. Give them the phone number. But I mean, we had so many people calling saying, well, did they go out of business? No, but they're just not advertising right now. So even through those downtimes, it's important to keep your name out there. Exactly. Because people are still looking and they still need your services. Well, Mary, I know you're a plethora of information, and I would love for people to reach out to you. So before we do give your information, is there anything you would like to tell the audience before we end? The Forney Chamber of Commerce auction is coming up on April 20th. You can go to their website to purchase tickets, sponsorships. It's a great time. It's a casino night, and we would love to have you join us. And if the audience wanted to reach you, how would they do that? Yes, of course. My phone number in Terrell is 972-563-6476. And I'm super reachable by email, and it's easy. It's mary@terrelltribune.com. That is very easy. Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for having me. I loved it. Yes, awesome. But guys, as you know, I am Sabrina Hussein, and I'm an insurance consultant with Farmers Insurance, and we are here today at the Brasilia Studios, which opened up in December, and I'm also the founder and CEO of this company. So if we can help you in any way, I would love for you guys to actually stop by and just visit the studio, see if it's something you can use. It's a podcast, video ad, content creation studio. So we'd love to see you guys. Until next time, bye-bye.